स्वतंत्रता की। ये पंत मिर्जा एग्रीमेंट के तौर से जाना जाता है। वो एक संकट का समय है जब तालिबानी मानसिकता ने जो है वो इन देशों को अपने चपेट में ले लिया। वहाँ के जो अल्पसंख्यक की बात मैं कह रहा हूँ, तो वहाँ हिंदू, वहाँ पर जो है सिख भाई बहन, वहाँ पर क्रिश्चियन और भी जो अल्पसंख्यक समाज के लोग हैं, जैन हैं बहुत से, और सभी लोग रहते हैं। उनका सम्मान, उनकी संस्कृति, उनके धार्मिक अधिकार पूरी तरह से खतरे में आ गए। ये देश की जरूरत थी, ये पार्लियामेंट की जरूरत थी। जो उस वक्त कांग्रेस पार्टी ने फैसला किया था, उस फैसले को प्रभावी कराने की जरूरत थी। और सीए में अमेंडमेंट आया, आप सबने पास किया, कुछ लोगों ने विरोध किया। और जिस वक्त अभी अफगानिस्तान में तालिबानियों का जुर्म चल रहा था, उस वक्त वहां से इसी सीए की वजह से, सीए के जो संशोधन किया गया, इसी वजह से वहाँ के तमाम हिंदू भाई, वहाँ के तमाम सिख भाई, तमाम यहाँ तक कि जो मुस्लिम भाई भी थे, भाई बहनें थीं, उनको भी हिंदुस्तान सुरक्षित लाने और उनकी सुरक्षा करने का काम हुआ है। ये परिवर्तन आया है मोदी जी के आने के बाद, और उससे पहले जो 10 साल था उसमें। सर, एक परिवर्तन, और आज देश एक बहुत संकट और कंटक के काल में गुजर रहा है। अभी भी कोरोना का संकट आया। किसी भविष्यवक्ता ने ये नहीं कहा था कि कोरोना कब आएगा और कैसे आएगा और कौन कितनों को मारेगा, कितनों को नहीं मारेगा। किसी वैज्ञानिक को नहीं पता था। एक ये बहुत बड़ी आपदा आई, और 100 साल पहले जब ये आपदा आई थी, उपसभापति महोदय, जिसे कि स्पेनिश फ्लू के नाम से जाना गया था, उस वक्त हमारे देश की आबादी कितनी थी? 30 करोड़। इस 30 करोड़ में बांग्लादेश और पाकिस्तान सब मिला के मैं कह रहा हूँ 30 करोड़। उस 100 साल पहले उस स्पेनिश फ्लू में कितने लोगों की मौत हुई थी? 2 करोड़ से ज्यादा मौत, ये डॉक्यूमेंट है। आज हमारी आबादी 140-50 करोड़ के इर्द गिर्द होगी। जिस वक्त ये संकट आया 2020 जनवरी में, फरवरी में, उस वक्त जो है वो हमारे पास ही क्या, जो सुविधा संपन्न देश भी थे सर, उनके पास भी कोई सुविधा संसाधन लोगों की सेहत सलामती के लिए नहीं था। हमारे देश के तमाम लोग, जो लोग के विदेशों में रह रहे थे, लाखों की संख्या में लोग थे, जिनको कि उनके देश के लोग जो है वो कह रहे थे आप हमारे देश खाली करो, क्योंकि हर आदमी, हर देश अपने अपने लोगों की सेहत और सलामती की चिंता कर रहा था। मोदी जी ने आने के बाद फौरन पहला काम किया, जो लोग यूनाइटेड अरब अमीरात में थे, जो लोग जो है वो ब्रिटेन में थे, अमेरिका में थे, ईरान में थे, इराक में थे, सऊदी अरब में थे, या देश के अन्य अलग दुनिया के हिस्सों में थे, विशेष व्यवस्था करके उनको यहां सुरक्षित हिंदुस्तान लाना। उसके बाद उनको जो है वो उनके यहां रुकने की व्यवस्था करना। कुछ उसमें हमारे फौज के लोगों के संस्थानों का को जो है प्रयोग किया गया, कुछ और संस्थान बनाए गए, क्योंकि ये सब एकदम बहुत जल्दबाजी में हो रहा था। लाखों लोगों को भारत से सुरक्षित लाना, उनकी सेहत सलामती, और करोड़ों लोगों के, हिंदुस्तानियों की सुरक्षा और सेहत सलामती। और जो 2 करोड़ सर हम लोगों की अनफॉर्चुनेट डेथ हुई थी, वो 2 करोड़ लोगों में जो डॉक्यूमेंट है सर, उसमें लगभग 80% लोग भूखमरी से मर गए थे, दवा न मिलने की वजह से मर गए थे। मोदी जी ने आने के बाद क्या किया? मोदी जी ने सबसे पहले जो गरीब था, जो कमजोर तबका था, इस संकट काल में 80 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों के खाने पीने की, अनाज की और भोजन की व्यवस्था करी, जो आज तक चल रही है।
अभी समाप्त कीजिए आपका समय।
ये एक बहुत बड़ा सर परिवर्तन है और बहुत बड़ा बदलाव है, जो कि आज जो है वो मैं 18 साल की बात कर रहा हूँ, यानी आज से 8 साल 10 पहले क्या था और आज क्या है सर। उसके अलावा जो एक और महत्वपूर्ण बदलाव है, जब आज देश की, मैं बहुत जल्दी खत्म कर रहा हूँ, आज देश की सर,
आपके बहुत सारे स्पीकर हैं।
हाँ सर,
और आपका जो टाइम था वो खत्म हो गया।
तो सर ऐसा, मैं एक बार, जब ये सरकार बनी 2014 में जनता ने जनादेश दिया तो उस वक्त पूरे देश में शोर मचा। किसी ने असहिष्णुता का शोर मचाया, किसी ने कहा कि इस देश से तो अब तमाम देशों की कुट्टी हो जाएगी, खासतौर से इस्लामिक देश तो अब इधर झांकेंगे भी नहीं। ये सारे के सारे चुनौतियां, और यही नहीं, इस देश के संस्कार, इस देश की संस्कृति, इस देश के संविधान और इस देश के राष्ट्रवाद की जो सियासी लिंचिंग हुई है उसकी पराकाष्ठा हुई। और एक के बाद एक इस तरह की घटनाओं से पूरे दुनिया में भारत को बदनाम करने की साजिश और षड्यंत्र होती। जो मोदी बैशिंग की सनक थी वो भारत बैशिंग का साजिश का रूप लेने लगी। लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी इस देश की ताकत, हिंदुस्तान की शक्ति और हिंदुस्तान का और हिंदुस्तानियों के सम्मान पर नरेंद्र मोदी जी की मजबूत राष्ट्रवादी इच्छा शक्ति ने उस पर असर नहीं पड़ने दिया, आंच नहीं आने दिया। सर, ये 28वां बदलाव है इन 8 सालों के अंदर का, जो पिछले 10 सालों का और 8 साल के बीच में है। तो सर, हम अपनी एक ही बात कह के ख़त्म करेंगे कि इस संकट के समय में, इस कंटक के समय में, जब कोरोना का भी कहर था, तूफानों का भी झोंका देखा, टिड्डियों का भी हमला देखा, फिसड्डियों का भी हमला देखा, उसके बावजूद भी नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने जो इस देश के लोगों के लिए कमिटमेंट किया था, इस देश के लोगों के सम्मान, इस देश के लोगों की सुरक्षा, इस देश के लोगों की समृद्धि का जो संकल्प लिया था, उसे कमजोर नहीं पड़ने दिया। जब हौसला बना लिया ऊंची उड़ान का, तब देखना फिजूल है कद आसमान का। इस संकल्प के साथ इस सरकार ने काम किया और आपको इन 8 सालों में 28 बदलाव जो मुझे याद आ रहे हैं वो मैंने आपको बता दिए। उसके अलावा तो बहुत लंबी लिस्ट है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको समय देने के लिए।
थैंक यू। श्री संजय राउत जी। Shri Sanjay Raut ji, are you anywhere in the Lok Sabha? No, I don't think he's here. Then Shri Kanak Medla Ravindra Kumar ji. He's also not here. Shri Abdul Wahab ji.
Yes, madam, thank you very much for giving me a chance. First of all, I am raised to oppose this motion, but after listening Mr. Our Minister Naqvi sir, 28 reason he, 28 I think, it is 28, na? 28 reason he found to support this government. I have seen 2, out of this one I have two which you are not mentioning. You are not mentioning the right 2. I am supporting only on 2. Maybe you can make it 30. 28 plus 2. Because in skilling and in some waqaf, other than whatever he told was, everything was done by previous government also, and any government will do. He is only repeating, only praising Modi ji. Increasing the hate speech and communal attack against minority community, particularly Muslims and Christians, he was not mentioned. Young Muslim women professionals are auctioned through online. Statues of Jesus Christ were smashed and churches were attacked during the Christmas. This house should be unanimously condemn such incidents happening in our great country. And about unemployment, nobody mentioned, even President. It is observed there are more than 8 lakhs of vacancies in the central government. Why is the central government not filling these vacancies? I urge the government to immediately fill and the vacancies at least in central government institutions. Honorable Chairperson, I take this opportunity to appreciate the government and Prime Minister Modi for his Pradhana Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, skill development program, and the way it is promoting the startup. I sincerely appreciate the department and ministers for the same. Honorable Chairman, however, I am concerned about the decline of India's global stature. It was a dream of our former President Abdul Kalam ji convert our country into a superpower by 2020. He was very hopeful of youth and power of education. Today, a large section of our youth are unemployed and uneducated. The government under Manmohan Singh was taking the country in the right direction. All of a sudden, our growth and development have taken a U-turn. Our economic growth indexes and Sensex index must be moving upward. But surely there is a significant section of our society who is being left out in our growth. There is an increasing inequality in our society, both in social and economic terms. Honorable Chairman, India's image as a champion of democracy and human rights is diminishing due to its increasing intolerance to minorities and intellectuals. The world respects Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru as their values. But today, a section of our society is disrespecting our Mahatma Gandhi ji. This disrespectful attitude towards Gandhi should stop. This House needs to take a lead in fixing these issues that I have raised. One more thing I want to mention, last thing. MP Lads Fund was stopped because of Corona. Agree. But when I came as a member of parliament in 2004, the amount was 5 crores. At that point of time, I could make minimum 1,000 classrooms with that 5 crore. Now, I can make only 200 classrooms. As I am telling, I am not only making classrooms. I could buy a computer that time by 50,000. Now it is okay, 20,000. But government should increase the MP lads from 5 crores to 20 crores minimum. 24 crores was actually the inflation rate. So I urge the government to re-engage this one, MP lads fund, so that money is going to the public.
Please observe silence on this side. Please observe silence.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I am raising an issue for you also, for BJP members. It's common, not for me only. I am the only one. So I urge the government, and I oppose this motion of this one to the President sir, and he was making just a letter given by the Prime Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vahabji. Dr. Fawzia Khan. She's in the Lok Sabha. Dr. Fawzia Khan. Yes, but she hasn't responded yet. Now we go to the next. Shri Ramdas Athavale ji. Shri Ramnath Thakur ji. Sabha. Yes.
लोकसभा माननीय उपसभापति महोदय,
आप बैठ के भी बोल सकते हैं रामनाथ जी, चाहिए तो जी।
आपने मुझे राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण पर बोलने के लिए समय दिया, आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई। सबसे पहले तीसरी महामारी में कोरोना के दरमियान हम सबों के बीच से जो आदमी नहीं रहे, उनके प्रति और उनके परिवार के प्रति हार्दिक संवेदना हम व्यक्त करते हैं और आपसे निवेदन करते हैं कि हमारी संवेदना उनके परिवारों तक पहुंचा दें। सभापति जी, उपसभापति जी, मैं सबसे पहले सरकार को यह बधाई देना चाहता हूं कि भारत में पहली बार कोरोना महामारी की दवा बनाने में अग्रणी रहा और अपने देश में ही नहीं, विदेशों में दवा की सप्लाई की और लाखों लोगों को जान बचाने में कामयाबी हासिल की। इसके लिए उन वैज्ञानिकों को और भारत सरकार के मंत्रियों को मैं बधाई देता हूं कि लाखों लोगों को इस दवाई बनाने में और उसकी रक्षा में कामयाबी हासिल की। मैं राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण के संदर्भ में कुछ निवेदन करना चाहता हूं। मैं बधाई देना चाहता हूं कि पहली बार भारत में रक्षा मंत्रालय ने भारत में उपकरण बनाने का काम किया। जो विदेशों से आते थे सामान, उन विदेशों से न ला करके अपने देश में बनाने का काम किया और भारत को समृद्ध बनाने का काम किया और दलालों से बचाने का काम किया। इसलिए राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण को मैं सराहना करता हूं। दूसरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि भारत सरकार ने कृषि के मामले में खासकर गंगा के किनारे 9 राज्यों से होता हुआ बिहार में जो सम्मिलित होता है, उन गंगा के किनारों में हरे पेड़ लगाना, पौधा लगाना, मक्के की खेती करना, हरी सब्जियां उगाना और पर्यटन स्थल को समृद्ध बनाना, ये भारत सरकार ने ये अनोखा काम किया है। इसके लिए हम उन्हें बधाई देना चाहते हैं। तीसरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि जन खाता का जो खोलने का काम किया, ग्रामीण महिलाओं को दिन भर लग जाता है किसी बैंक में जाने के लिए और दलालों के हाथों उसे परेशानी उठानी पड़ती है। इसलिए हम निवेदन करना चाहते हैं भारत सरकार से कि ग्रामीणों में, पंचायतों में, गांव में बैंक का सृजन करे, बैंक खोलने का काम करे और 6,66,000 गांव में बैंक को से समृद्धि करे। इनके साथ हम भारत सरकार से निवेदन करना चाहते हैं कि वहाँ के ग्रामीण व्यवस्थाओं, खासकर महिलाओं को सुख और सुविधा मिले, दिन भर बैंक में रहने का मौका न मिले। इसलिए हर एक पंचायत में बैंक खोलने का हम निवेदन करना चाहते हैं। तीसरी बात मैं बताना चाहता हूं, भारत सरकार से निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि बिहार में बाढ़ की समस्या से हम लोग ग्रसित रहते हैं। बाढ़ की समस्या से निदान कराने के लिए भारत सरकार नेपाल सरकार से वार्ता करे और हाई डैम बनाने का कोशिश करे और बाढ़ की समस्याओं से निजात दिलाने का काम करे। यह हम भारत सरकार से निवेदन करना चाहते हैं। बिहार कई मामलों में पिछड़ा हुआ है। बिहार के लिए हम विशेष पैकेज की मांग करते हैं और हम निवेदन करते हैं कि भारत सरकार बिहार सरकार को मदद करने का काम करेगी और बिहार की जो समस्या है उसे दूर भगाने का काम करेगी। चौथी बात मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना के माध्यम से यह प्रयत्न किया गया कि कोई भी गरीब और बेसहारा व्यक्ति भूखा से न मरे। इसके लिए भारत सरकार ने जो काम किया है यह सराहनीय है और इसको और आगे बढ़ाने में काम करना चाहिए। किसान सम्मान निधि के माध्यम से 11 करोड़ से अधिक किसान परिवारों को 1,80,000 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक की राशि प्रदान की गई है और इसका सकारात्मक प्रभाव भी दिखाई पड़ रहा है। फसल बीमा योजना में भी बदलाव किया गया है ताकि तकनीकी के आधार पर उनके दावों को खारिज न किया जा सके, और इसका परिणाम यह हुआ है कि 8 करोड़ से अधिक किसानों को मुआवजा के तौर पर 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए से अधिक की राशि दी गई है ताकि उनकी कठिनाइयों का कम किया जा सके। अब सरकार की योजना यह है कि डीबीटी के तहत किसानों को उपज सीधे खरीद की जाए तथा पैदा उनके खातों में सीधे डाला जाए। महोदय, मैं इसके संबंध में सरकार से एक अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं। यद्यपि जन धन योजना के माध्यम से अधिकांश गांव में बैंक खोलने के लिए मैं निवेदन कर चुका हूं। महोदय, यह संतोष की बात है कि सरकार ने देश में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के विकास के लिए प्रधानमंत्री गति शक्ति योजना की शुरुआत की है। भविष्य में रेल, राजमार्ग और हवाई यातायात अलग अलग विकसित नहीं होंगे, बल्कि इनका एक मास्टर प्लान बनाकर इन्हें तैयार किया जाएगा। यह भी सुखद है कि वर्ष 2020-21 में ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में प्रतिदिन 100 मीटर से अधिक की रफ्तार से 36,000 किलोमीटर से भी ज़्यादा सड़कों का निर्माण हुआ है। मेरा यह अनुरोध होगा कि जब तक सरकार इस प्रकार की योजनाओं को लागू करे जो ऐसा करते समय उन राज्यों पर विशेष फोकस करे जो इस मामले में पिछड़े हैं। मैं यह अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं कि बिहार में जो राजमार्ग परियोजनाएं एवं पुलियों का निर्माण किया जा रहा है उसे तेजी से पूरा किया जाए। अभी ये कार्य वर्षों तक चलते रहे हैं। मैं यह भी अनुरोध करता हूं कि सरकार किसानों, नौजवानों की आकांक्षाओं को पूरा करने के लिए विशेष यत्न से तथा रोटी रोजगार के साधन उपलब्ध करावे ताकि देश में खुशहाली आए। तभी हम सही माने में संविधान में व्यक्त भावनाओं के अनुरूप तथा साथ ही महामहिम राष्ट्रपति द्वारा गौरवशाली भारत के निर्माण के आह्वान को साकार कर सकें। मैं कल सुन रहा था नेता विरोधी दल की बात को। मैं याद करता हूं 63-64 में डॉक्टर राम मनोहर लोहिया जब लोकसभा में फर्रुखाबाद से जीत के आए थे तो उन्होंने अविश्वास भारत सरकार के विरुद्ध में, कांग्रेस के विरुद्ध में अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लाने का काम किया था और उसमें उन्होंने बताया था कि आप इसलिए हटे कि हमारे किसानों को, दलितों को, वंचितों को, पिछड़ों को जो हक आपने मारा है उस हक को दिलाने में कामयाबी हो। डॉक्टर लोहिया ने यह बताने का काम किया था अपने अविश्वास प्रस्ताव में। लेकिन नेता विरोधी दल जब बोल रहे थे तो उन्होंने शिकायतों की झड़ी लगा दी, लेकिन एक भी उपाय उन्होंने नहीं बताया कि यह काम करने से नौजवानों को, किसानों को, मजदूरों को, पिछड़ों को, दलितों को ये फायदा होगा। इसलिए हम निवेदन करना चाहते हैं कि पुलिंदा तो आप बांध देते हैं कि यह काम नहीं हुआ, लेकिन जो काम हुआ उसको आप धारण कीजिए और जो काम नहीं हुए सकारात्मक रूप से आप भारत सरकार से निवेदन करें कि यह काम करें। यह जब आपके मन में विश्वास पैदा होगा तो सरकार के प्रति भी और आम जनता के प्रति भी आपके बारे में अच्छी सोच बनेगी। मैं आपके माध्यम से निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि भारत सरकार जो पिछड़ों न्यायालयों में जो आरक्षण के आधार पर न्यायाधीशों की बहाली आरक्षण के आधार पर करना है वह निश्चित रूप से करें। जो बैक लिस्टेड जो जगह खाली हैं, भारत सरकार में 8 लाख लोगों से अधिक जो भर्ती का है उसको भरने का काम करें। इन शब्दों के साथ मैं आपसे निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि सिर्फ हंगामा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं, मेरी कोशिश है सूरत बदलनी चाहिए। मेरे सीने में न सही तेरे सीने में है आग, जहां आग जलनी चाहिए। इन शब्दों के साथ मैं अपनी बात खत्म करता हूं और राष्ट्रपति के प्रति संवेदना व्यक्त करता हूं। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
धन्यवाद रामनाथ जी ठाकुर जी। श्री अजित कुमार भूया। यस यस प्लीज।
Honorable Vice Chairman sir, Madam, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. As I stand to speak against the motion, I would like to know that what happened to the doubling farm income. When I was going through, I did not find any indications of how government is planning for the welfare of farmers. I would like to know what happened to these investment targets, 10 crore jobs and 5 trillion economics. The normal salaried class got Mahabharat courts, whereas corporate taxes got reduced. The pandemic has exhausted the nations, but what is the relief to come out from such agonies? But as usual, government chooses to ignore the shrinking middle and lower income class. 8 lakhs affordable houses will be completed at rupees 44,000 crore under Prime Minister Awas Yojana in 2022-23. This means rupees 55,000 for each house. I do not understand what kind of house will be of rupees 55,000, especially in the hilly areas of the northeastern region. Agriculture and allied activities which still employ the largest bulk of the population have been left without any mention in the speech. Madam, in 2021, the income of 84% of household has gone down, whereas government income increases 64.9% more in comparison to 2020. The nation is facing terrible inflation, and there is no mention of how to give relief to the middle and lower middle class. There is a reflection in the speech that the mirage of Achhe Din has been conceived, but the truth is ever farther away. I feel the nation must wait for 25 more years for Achhe Din to arrive. It will not be an exaggeration if I say that I sense it is anti-federalist policy and approach of the government of the day. The subsidies on several schemes which directly benefit common people, roughly 80%, has been reduced. The core of the core schemes, including Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee schemes, faces a cut. I had a high expectation that the presidential speech would refer to rural jobs and their avenues, but funds had been cut by 25%. Vice Chairman, Madam, 2014, I would like to say 2014 promise of Achhe Din, 2017 promise of New India, 2022 promise of Amrit Kal in 25 years. The goalpost keeps changing as the timeline keeps changing, as the promises keep changing. Promises are good, but delivery is better. 4.6 crores have been pushed with poverty, and 84% households have suffered from loss of income, and India ranks 104 out of 160 countries in the Global Hunger Index. I do not find any capsules on how to recover from these agonies in the speech. 66 lakhs MSMEs were closed, and this has strained the people to go back to their native places, but there has been no scope and incentives to employ those people at their respective places. Madam, I represent Assam in the upper house, and the government has claimed that peace and tranquility prevail in the northeast states. The government has not spelled out a Naga peace solution, as the honorable members of the house know that the Naga conflict is the mother of all other conflicts of the region. The framework agreement was signed in August 2015 in the presence of the Prime Minister of India, and Prime Minister had subsequently claimed that the long pending Naga conflict would be resolved in no time. More than 6 years had gone, but what is the latest update of the Naga conflict is still a mystery. I am of the strong view that unless the Naga conflict gets resolved, the peace process in the region will be just IWAS, and a piecemeal approach will continue to disturb the region. Manipur and Assam's peace-loving people are still longing for resolution of conflict, and the government of India is yet to start a dialogue with several outfits. I am confident that peace and development should move simultaneously, and if the government of India takes bold initiative, bold initiatives in this direction, as the region has been strategically very important and have 98% international border. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity to speak few words.
Thank you. Shri Ripun Boraji. Ripun Boraji. Is it?
Here you can come. My time may be counted from now onwards. Thank you, madam. First of all, the entire country, with high expectation, they were looking that the president's address will be that we have already passed 3 pandemics. So the entire economy of our country has been badly devastated by the pandemic, and the people of this country wanted that since the president address is the roadmap of the government for the coming years, so definitely there should be ways and means how to recover, how to develop, how to rebuild our economy. But nothing has been mentioned. Meanwhile, many of my friends have already explained. So this 84 crores, we have 130 crores population in our country, and out of that, 84 crores peoples, this income has been come down drastically during this pandemic period. But in the presidential address, not a single word has been mentioned. Not only that, madam, during our UPA government, when Dr. Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister, the 27 crores people have been upgraded from below poverty line to above poverty line. This is not my report. This is the Niti Ayog's report. So now during these 7 years, you are saying there's a $5 trillion country, we are leading our country to $5 billion. But during these 7 years,
nearly 5 crores people have gone again below poverty line. Now our country, it is very same. We are saying we are Vishwaguru, but we are very same, madam, that in the world, in the global poverty, our India poverty is the half of the global poverty. So this is the, madam, our present burning problem is what? This unemployment problem, this skyrocketing prices. Not a single word has been mentioned in the presidential address how to tackle the unemployment problem, how to tackle the price rises. Apart from that, madam, the purchasing power of our people in this country have been hugely declined. The individual consumption has been hugely declined, but in the roadmap, what we call is the BJP said that it is a roadmap of the government, but in the roadmap, nowhere road is mentioned how to tackle this situation. Not only, madam, I just in the para 15, in the presidential address, madam, para 15, the government has very proudly said that during pandemic period, we have done a great thing. What great thing? That not a single citizen was left in hunger, left in hungry. It is said, but what is the reality? They say that 80 crores people have been given free rice under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Nidhi Yojana. But what is the reality? This reality is this our people in the world global index, our India's number has come to 101. It was 94 in 2020 and it has come to 101, and that too, madam, we are far, far behind than Bangladesh, Pakistan and Nepal also. So this is our government claim that this is the largest food distribution program in the world, but this is the position. Not only that, madam, yesterday our LOP has also said that all the time we are hearing one complaint that 70 years, 70 बरसर आपने किया क्या, 70 बरसर आपने किया क्या. हाँ, 70 बरसर तो हमने नहीं किया, कुछ नहीं किया, लेकिन बीजेपी में किया. मैं इसको एक हमारा गांव में एक कहावत है मैडम, वो कहावत क्या है, जो एक बाप का बेटा जो निकम्मा होता है वो कुछ आमदनी कर नहीं पाता है, वो क्या करता है, बाप का सब प्रॉपर्टी एक के बाद बिकता है, और सब बाप का प्रॉपर्टी सब बिकने के जब खत्म हो जाता है तो वो आरोप लगाता है मेरा बाप ने मेरे को क्या दिया, मेरा बाप ने मेरे को क्या दिया. तो यही है हाल, यही है. आप देखिए मैडम, मैं ये नीति आयोग का है, मेरा नहीं है, जो जब फर्स्ट प्राइम मिनिस्टर इंडिया Jawaharlal Nehru, he created 33 number of PSUs, no privatization. Lal Bahadur Shastri, he created 5 numbers of PSU, no privatization. Indira Gandhi created 66 numbers of PSU, no privatization. Morarji Desai created 9 number of PSU, no privatization. Rajiv Gandhi created 16 number of PSU, 16 number of PSU, no privatization. VP Singh created 2 number of PSU, no privatization. PV Narasimha Rao created 14 number of PSU, no privatization. I.K. Gujral, H.D. Devegowda created 3 number of PSU, no privatization. Then Atal Bihari Vajpayee, he created 17 numbers of PSU. There is 7 privatization. Dr. Manmohan Singh created 23 number of PSU, only 3 privatization, and our Vishwaguru Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during 8 years, he created not a single PSU, and he privatized 23 number of PSU of our country. So this is what we have done 70 years and what you have done in 8 years. Not only that, madam, one more important thing, that in para 40, it is mentioned about women empowerment. Para 31. Para 31 in the address, it is mentioned in the women empowerment. And said that 85% of the households, women, have been given Ujjwala gas. Yes, it is the data. By simply giving Ujjwala gas, there is no women empowerment. There cannot be women empowerment, but the government is not taking the feedback. There is no monitoring. The Ujjwala gas we have given, first cylinder women has taken, but the government has no knowledge. They are not taking this information that after taking the first cylinder, the woman has not been afford to take the second cylinder at cost of ₹1,000. It is lying. The cylinder is lying in the kitchen of the poor woman. This is women empowerment. This is women empowerment. Not only that, madam, our Congress government for women empowerment, we have made 33% reservation in Panchayati Raj, 50% reservation in urban local bodies, and we have passed bill for reservation of women in parliament and the assembly also. But what you have done? What you have done? What about that? It is lying there. Not only that, this NCRB report of 2020. What happened? There is crime against women 3,87,997 in 2019. And in 2020, there is crime against women 3,57,360. Now you see, this is, if our women is not protected, how can we say women empowerment? What is the meaning of women empowerment? If we cannot protect our women, not only that, we offer the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. It is a very popular slogan, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. But what is Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao? No, Prime Minister said Padhao, but we are not saying Padhao. As anything, so here you see, madam, that in the year 14 to 18 years, children committed suicide. In 2019, 9,613, and 2020, 11,396. That is, in 1 year, 18% increase of suicide of girl children of age 14 to 18. Is it Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao? Is it Beti? This is not my data. This is your data, NCRB data. Not only that, madam, now we are coming to another point. That is, I must say, I am from Assam, I am from Northeast, and my friend Ajit Bhia has already said about Northeast also, and I also want to say, in para 74 of the presidential address, there is a mention that we are giving top priority for the development of Northeast region. My friend Rijizu is also there. But what is that? You see that in Assam, 2 private sector undertakings, 2 paper mills have been closed down. Not only that, during this from 14 years to till today, not a single mega project was sanctioned for Northeast region. Simply airport to the Hulengi. This is not enough. This is the only one airport for Hulengi, and that decision was of our UPA government. Except that, but the other airport, in the name of Bharat Ratna, Gopinath Bordoloi, that airport has been sold to Adani. This is happening. This is happening. The Armed Forces Special Power Act that has been grossly misused in Northeast region recently in Nagaland. On December 5, on December 4, the military had killed 14 numbers of civilians. It is a very shame Normally our military is used. Normally military is used to against the foreign aggression. Foreign aggression, but our military has killed our own people and nothing has been done. So these Naga people, they are going for long hesitation. The Alpha problem in Assam, the other extremist problem in Assam, the Naga peace talk has not been done and no mention has been there. So how you can improve the Northeast region? Not only that, madam, now I want to come to para 14. In para 14, there is said that government is giving top priority for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and OBC. But what is the reality? What is the reality? If we again come to the NCRB report that we have seen the scheduled caste people, crime against the scheduled caste people, 50,291 in 2020, and for scheduled caste, that is an increase of 9.4% of crime against the scheduled caste people in comparison to 2019. And scheduled caste, scheduled tribes people, there is crime against them 8,272, and that is 9.3% increase against this.
You have to start winding up.
1 minute. So this, if we cannot protect the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes people, where is their empowerment? Where is their development? We have cut their budget. We have not given the scholarship of these scheduled caste students for the last several years. Now we are giving the priority to the scheduled caste people. So this is last, madam, finally, I have come to this point only, that I would have been very glad, 1 minute, madam, I would have been very glad to extend our thanks, to extend our gratefulness to the President of India and to the presidential address. Had there been mentioned this thing, what is that? That your slogan is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas. But you do not have Aapka Vishwas nahi hai. Aapka Vishwas aapka mantri ka upar nahi hai. Aapka Vishwas judges ka upar nahi hai. Aapka Vishwas army officer ka upar nahi hai. Aapka Vishwas opposition leader ka upar nahi hai.
Honorable member, please wind up.
मंत्री का ऊपर नहीं है, तो इसीलिए आपने क्या किया? The foreign से तुल मंगाया, spyware मंगाया, जो पेगासास लगा दिया. You can say आज जो पेगासास, जो आज ये जो सारा इंटरनेशनल में, सारा वर्ल्ड में हमारा इंडिया का डिफेंडर सबसे you claim.
Honorable member, please wind up, otherwise I'll have to call the next
India is the
speaker.
largest democratic country, but what you have done here?
Okay, honorable member, I'm calling the next member.
You have finished our rights by applying Pegasus, and Prime Minister has given a lie.
Thank
The
you.
country. He misled the country. He said that no, we have taken Pegasus, but the recent New Year.
Thank you, Boraji. Thank you, Boraji.
New Year.
Now, Shri Jawahar Sarkar.
That the government has purchased Pegasus.
Thank you, Boraji. Shri Jawahar Sarkar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is my
Yes,
maiden
he's in the
speech.
Lok Sabha.
The first speech I'm going to make in Parliament after a patient wait of 6
I have
months.
called up Jawahar Sarkar ji. You can say it in your speech. You can react.
Madam Chair,
Jawahar Sarkar ji.
yeah.
Yes.
In
Yes,
Lok Sabha.
Sarkar ji.
Ha.
Yes.
Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity of me to speak before this august House. I celebrate the 6th month of my oath taking. So I have not spoken a single word in 6
Could you
months.
sit down and speak so that you are more audible?
Shall I
Sarkar
sit
ji,
down?
Yes, please, so that
Okay.
you'll be more audible.
So,
That's right. Thank you.
This is the 6th month of my oath taking, and thank you very much for the first opportunity to speak in 6 months. I hope you would be gracious enough to give me the time allotted to maiden speeches. We have heard a lot of Modi Nama for the last couple of days in a manner that puts anyone to shame, anyone with certain amount of self-respect. India is today at the crossroads as it has never been before. Indian history is going to be judged on what we do today and what we do for tomorrow. Our polity is shattered. Our political framework has never been so threatened. The political framework created by those who fought for India's freedom, those who did not by those who ran away from India's freedom struggle. Our society is fractured. Brother is against brother, and it is now a credit to discredit someone else. Our economy is mauled. It has never gone through such a bad patch. I have worked for 41 years in government, and I know that we have never gone through such a bad patch, not even in 1991. And much of the destruction of the economy is thanks to deliberate policies that have not understood their meaning. The first two problems that I would highlight are inequality or inequity and joblessness. For God's sake, as the representatives of the people of India, we need to understand that the printed word and the flowery phrase do not mean much to those who go hungry, those who are without jobs. As we stand and talk today, 100 crores is the labor force between 15 and 64. Between 15 and 64, government has said there are 100 crore people, and it is government and CMI and others who have admitted that only 40% is a labor participation ratio. This means in effect that 60 crore Indians have no job security. No job security. We need not quibble over the exact number of unemployed, those who are without any job whatsoever. Forget security. It could be around 6 crores. The rate of unemployment has never reached such a devastating portion as it has reached today. On the other hand, we see in this inequitable system, in this open capitalist system that has been ushered in by a certain person in 2014, never before in the history of India have we seen such a naked capitalism. We see that somebody who flew him in a plane has shot up from 14 billion US dollars to 41 billion US dollars. The bottom half of India have lost what they had, and they are now holding on to 13% of the national wealth. 13% of the national wealth is held by the bottom half of India, while the top 10% alone, the numbers are just a handful, have abrogated 22%. We can go on figures of poverty because poverty itself is open to definition. One reliable statistic says that about 15 crore Indians were lifted out of poverty in the last 10 years from 2006. If we go by that figure, 15 crores lifted out of poverty, we have to see along with it that 14 crores have been pushed into poverty in the last 2 years. What a credit. Pushing them back into poverty. Joblessness, I have already told you. So without an equitable economy, what does it matter whether the Indian economy reaches 3 trillion or 30 trillion? Because all of it would be going into the pockets of a few while the others go hungry. Hunger has already been mentioned. To give effect to this, what I would say, a misconstrued game plan, we find privatization has been given much more emphasis than ever before in Indian history. The disinvestment budget for 21-22 is 1.75 lakh crore. I wonder how much they have been able to get. But over and above this, disinvestment is giving it up forever. Government has come up with a new ploy called the National Monetization Pipeline. This NMP targets 6 lakh crores. 6 lakh crores over a period of 5 to 6 years. And this year itself, I think its target is 88,000 crores. 20 categories of national assets: roads, freight corridors, railway lines, power, 6 lakh crore watts, 6 lakh crore watts of power, gas, 8,000 kilometers of gas, 25 airports, and I can go on with the list, would be handed over for a lease period to those who may return them after extracting whatever was there in them. What guarantee is it? What guarantee do we have that after the so-called lease period, we shall be getting those goods that we gave them, if at all we have to give them? 1.6, there are a large number of coal projects, and we know who is the largest coal handler in India. Again, you come to that same question, for whose benefit are we going for massive privatization? You have not put up any public assets. Who has authorized you? Who has authorized you to sell off family silver? You have not earned it. This is developed from the earnings of the taxpayer and by visionary leaders. And you are now tasked yourself with the task of selling them over to people friendly with you. When I use a term like that, let me give you an example. 6 airports were privatized. They were privatized to a friend. That is all I need to say. The procedures were tuned accordingly, as bureaucrats would say, and all 6 airports went to a person who has never handled an airport in his life, may have only traveled in an airport as a passenger. What happens if he puts on captive rates now? The LIC is the crown jewel of India. The LIC's worth is around 40 lakh crores. They have 6 lakh agents and employees. This LIC of 40 lakh crores, you know what 40 lakh crore means? Our budget is normally around the range of 35 lakh crores. So LIC that has built up such and such and such a solid institution is now being diluted in favor of American insurance companies. I'm putting it bluntly, in favor of American insurance companies. Banks, over the last 12 years, banks have given us 16,55,000 crores of profit, operating profit. What you show as actual depends on what you need to force them to deduct for NPAs. While the inflation rate is at 6%, the fixed deposit rate is below 6%, at 5.5%, at 5%. So we as a government are actually stealing 1% from the depositor's money by eroding its value every year, eroding its value. Never before has this happened. I look upon just two sectors that ensure that the next generation of Indians are better than what we are, what we were. Education. In education, the figure given by the education minister yesterday in a reply to a question, he says that 5 years ago, the central government contribution to education was 1.07% of the GDP. 1.07% of the GDP. The education minister's reply is that Mr. Modi's government has brought it down this year to 0.09, 0.9. It has come down below even that shameful 1% to below 9%. I understand that you don't understand education. It's all right. You don't need to understand. You can flaunt degrees. The states, the poor states, cash-strapped states, have contributed 3.31% of their money. What they have contributed amounts to 3.31% of the GDP. Therefore, India's total contribution to education to GDP comes to 4.30, thanks to states. Thanks only to states. But then I find in this government, the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing. The economic survey gives in page 352 that the education's percent to GDP is 2.8%. Just now the education minister said it is 4.3%. And on page 352 of the economic survey, you say 2.1%. 2.8% to 3.1%. Bhai Sahab, there is a lot of difference between 4.1% of the GDP, 3.1% of the GDP and 4.30% of the GDP. हजारों लाखों करोड़ की फर्क है. Education as a percentage of GDP, as I said, has been going down year after year, and you are doing nothing about it. The major schemes in higher education, I was checking, and they have replied that the major scheme for higher education known as RUSA, Rashtriya Uchchatar Shiksha Abhiyan, has come down from 1400 crores 5 years ago to 165 crores this year. From 1400 crores to 165 crores. This is just an example. Just an example. I move on to health. Health, whenever we talk about, India will not forget those devastating scenes of people, of corpses being burnt on pavements or in parks, corpses being thrown into rivers to hide figures. The figures that the government of India has given and is repeatedly giving of deaths is challenged by every country in the world, including Burkina Faso. Our statistics have no value whatsoever. We are beating China where credibility is concerned. So we will not forget the massive deaths that happened despite all the drum beating that you undertake now. Why did you not order for vaccine when they were being made in India? Why were you going around the world as a Vishwaguru, as somebody, as a pharmacy of the world, when your own vaccine companies were moving from pillar to post in Delhi, asking for a purchase policy? When they booked these vaccines for a foreign market, you clamped down upon them. And thankfully, you did not declare them anti-nationals, but you got very late. Your late entry into the vaccine market caused an immense number of deaths for which India will never forgive you. On health, our total spend is just 1.2%. It's one of the most shameful things that we bow our head in shame when we talk in international forum. It has gone up from 1.2 to 1.8, but even 1.8 is no percentage. Brazil spends 9.2, Bhutan spends 2.5, Russia spends 5.3, and the advanced countries spend at least 5+. Do not look only at India shining. You will get the same fate that the person who spoke of India shining got. Look back, look into ourselves, look into these factors. Look into factors like health and education. You talk of Ayushman Bharat, you talk of insurance cover. As somebody said, all the money has gone to insurance company. To look at a difference, come to West Bengal and see the scheme that we have initiated called Swasth Saathi. And you will see that everyone who possible has got a card and can walk into a private hospital free of cost, get paid for it because the Bengal government pays for them. Look at where things are working more positively instead of spending hours and hours in devising alphabet to give fancy names to your schemes with your cronies. Look at the state of institutions, the public institutions that uphold democracy. TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, that's where the game started. Within a week of his coming, Mr. Modi amended the TRAI Act so that the TRAI chairman could be his principal secretary. And the chairperson accepted it quite shamefully. That is where the rot begins. Subsequent chairmen of TRAI have facilitated the growth of one telecom empire and have devastated all other telecom companies to the extent that Government of India is forced to buy up the major shares in one limping company. Look at the Election Commission of India. I will not comment about the present commission because we have not had sufficient interaction with them. But the previous commission, consisting of a chief election commissioner, was an international shame. His partisanship is a matter that is listed in stone in Nirvachan Sadan. He tampered with everything in favor of the ruling party. To give another example of how elections were run, the Central Armed Police Forces sent to Bengal outnumbered the Bengal police. Can you imagine that in Kerala or any other state, that the number of Central Armed Forces sent to you are double that, are 150% of your own forces? Are you trying to run a colonial state? But then the people gave their verdict. The people's verdict must be remembered. VVPAT, the paper trail, VVPAT was introduced and forced by the Supreme Court to be operationalized. That VVPAT is today undergoing a feet dragging with the consent of one particular Chief Justice who has now switched on to the other side. Anyway, our humble submission is that when the 2024 election comes, please be bold enough to utilize the hundreds of crores that you have spent on VVPAT and let two results emanate, one from EVMs and the other from VVPAT. Why do we have to force you? Why? What do you have to hide? Use the VVPAT, use the paper trail. And I challenge the Election Commission's Deputy Commissioner who lied before the Supreme Court and then indulged in Supreme Court that it takes 5 to 6 days to count paper trails. I have counted, I don't know how many election results on paper. It never takes that long. Why do you lie and why do you connive with such lying? Election bonds, another institutionalized shame. Look at the institutions that we talk about. Prasar Bharati, that I happened to serve, were a difficult period. The last 2 years that I served under this regime is something that I leave for my biography or something. It was one of the worst. Look at what they have done to the CBI and ED as an instrument of political vendetta. The CBI and ED were excellent professional services. Let me tell you, for even those who are angry with them, their professionalism is being destroyed by putting henchmen at the top and giving them extension after extension in collusion with legislation. The judiciary, I'll not mention.
Honorable member, you'll have to start winding up.
Okay. The CAG, as a maiden speech, please give me a few more minutes.
Your time is that way already consumed. Because it's your maiden speech, we continue to give you another 2.
Okay.
17 plus 15, 32 minutes.
32 minutes is what I'm entitled. But anyway, I'll wind it up. In honor of the chair, I'll wind it up. Look at the CAGs. Look at the conduct of the CAGs. The last two under this regime compromised to such an extent that the nation never came to know the cost of demonetization. The nation never came to know the cost of the Rafale deal and what was proper and improper about them. And one of them has got a Padma Bhushan for it. Maybe the other should also be given one. The original mastermind who actually felled the government in 2014 has procured more rewards than a gentleman would ever do. In any case, we move on. We come to the last major critical point of federal relations. Remember, the Indian Federation and the Indian civilization came together in an act of unison through through their own consensus. We have been ruled by a central authority for less than 500 years. The Mauryas ruled for over 200 years. The Mughals' effective rule was 120 years. The British effective rule was 150 years. From 70 to 80% of India was ruled for 500 years by central powers. Our civilization is at least 5,500 years of recorded history, the historical period, and 500 years or less is what central authorities have ruled, which means that for the remaining 5,000 years, Indians have still coalesced together, come together as a civilization because they felt like it, because they felt it was conducive. Do not turn that into an instrument of hegemony. Look at how the BSF jurisdiction has been extended without consulting the states. Look at how economic grants to the states are being dealt with. And look at the last blow to the Indian Administrative Service. The Indian Administrative Service shuttles between the center and state. It is not the fault of officers that they don't want to serve the center now. 10 years ago, 309 IAS officers served the center. Today, it should have been 409 against 309. The number has come down to 2, 2, 3. Can't you get the message that they don't want to come and serve under you? You can't use force now to draw them out from their cities and work under you. Force does not work anywhere, everywhere. Out of the 6,500 posts, 1,500 are vacant. For God's sake, you have had 7, 8 years to fill them up. Fill them up. Don't hegemonize. Don't bully the state. Don't bully the state. I come down to the last lap of my presentation on the President's speech. The entire thing is being run on controls and arrogance. Even Aadhaar, the linking of Aadhaar to voter card is another indication of this control freak mentality. The Central Vista is an arrogant display of hubris. There was no need. Please go and see it. Members, please go and see Rajpath. This Rajpath was Rajpath, which was perfectly fine, and it has cost 606 crores. 600 crores to redo the Rajpath and put a few lampshades and lampposts and visitor seats. What sort of nonsense is this? It's just a hubris. It would be much better if you have renamed Rajpath in somebody's name. 6 buildings will come up on 2 sides, 6 unimaginative buildings, 6 unaesthetic buildings will be coming up on 2 sides of Rajpath as a grand plan of the Central Vista by breaking down the National Museum, JANBHAWANA, National Archives of India, the National Cultural Center. Everything has been shattered so that 6 buildings can come. I have served the central bureaucracy, Mr. Modi. You have not served. I know there is no need for it, because even if you bring them down to your Modi Nagar, there'll still be people who will be working outside.
Kindly wind up, Honourable Member.
Draconian rule extends now to snooping, and Pegasus is the greatest example of how this state has become a surveillance state. All evidence points out to the surveillance, but the government does not have the guts to come out and say no. They send governors with the same intention of disturbing the constitutional mechanism of states, only disturbing the constitution. And the one that we have got will also the less said the better. As we celebrate 75 years of India's independence, all Indians are bold. We remember with pride the Quit India movement that was led by Mahatma Gandhi, that was opposed by those who are now monopolizing its celebration. We remember those who went to jail and are to 15 years in jail and are abused on a daily basis by those who never saw the insides of jail. We are proud of our flag that was opposed in writing in the organizer, the mouthpiece of the RSS, in writing. And this allegiance to the flag was brought in at gunpoint by Sardar Patel, who jailed these people for 1.5 years. For 1.5 years,
Honourable
he put
Member,
the RSS in
I'm
jail.
sorry, but you'll have to wind up.
Okay, in jail. And in these, we are now told that they are the monopolists of patriotism. This government is not worthy of further discussions, because every act that it has undertaken is an act that spells out the deep hubris, the tendency to homogenize a country that is necessarily heterogeneous. Indian civilization will thrive on its heterogeneity, not on any enforced homogeneity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Shri R.S. Bharti ji.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Madam Vice Chairman.
Yes.
On behalf of DMK party, my floor leader, Mr. Tiruchi Siva, yesterday, sitting in the chair occupied by our founder leader, Peranjal Anna, has spoken very well, and he has described vividly about the non-performance of this government, and he has also pointed out the failures of this government, and he has also suggested so many measures to be taken up by this government. Otherwise, the people of this country will teach you a lesson in 2024. So I would like to endorse the statement made by my floor leader, who was occupying the auspicious chair and and historical chair of my founder leader Anna, he has pointed out so many failures of this government, especially the COVID-19